So are you ready to PR yourself? We'll remove the mystery from all things PR, and we'll discuss everything from our top strategies to tips and tricks and everything that you can utilize to further enhance your brand or your message. I've been in media, I'm a journalist, and I'm also a publicist. I am Leah Frazier, CEO of Think3 Media, and your host for PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I must say, you guys made season 1 a hit, and it made me so happy to hear from so many of you guys via email, direct message on how you're going to PR yourself better, especially as we move into 2021. So thank you so much for all the kind words, and for all of you guys that are leaning in and putting in the work. This podcast is for you. So for those of you who are looking for a little bit extra oomph for your businesses and for your brands, I have something for you. Be sure to always visit pryourselfwithleahfrazier.com. Make sure you're signed up for our email list where I send out episode recaps. I'm going to send out when I'm doing webinars, when I'm going to be live. I'm going to send out when we're offering our next live course. So be sure to sign up for that email list, pryourselfwithleahfrazier.com, and never miss an update. That way you can PR yourself better and just do bigger and better things as we move into 2021. Also, exciting news. My book, PR Yourself, will be coming in 2021. So be sure to go to pryourselfbook.com and sign up again for that email list. You're not going to want to miss when pre-sales drop. You're going to want to be the first to get this book in your hand. And I'm not kidding you guys. I was on the phone yesterday with an organization that's going to have me do a workshop in June, and they have already pre-ordered 50 copies. The manuscript is not even turned in yet, and they have pre-ordered their 50, and you're going to want to get yours too. So pryourselfbook.com. And lastly, if you're like, Leah, you know what? I need that hands-on training with you every single month, whether it's marketing, whether it's PR. Hey guys, I have something super affordable for you. You're going to want to go to think3media.com/think3edu, and you're going to sign up for our subscription service. It's only $49 a month, you guys. And what you get is one live, you heard it right, one live session with me on a marketing or hot PR topic of the month. And then you're also going to get a mastermind session with other business and brands that are just like you, where maybe you're stuck on an issue. What we do when we mastermind together, we help you to get unstuck so that for those next 30 days before you go into the next month where we do another session, you can work on that item and take your business or your brand from one level to the next. That's what it's there for. So go to think3media.com/think3edu and sign up for our subscription service. That way you're always learning on how to market yourself better and how to PR yourself better as we move into 2021. And without further ado, enjoy this latest episode and stay tuned. And welcome back to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. And yes, I'm dancing in my chair because I have someone so fun and so beautiful here in the studio with me today. WFAA anchor Kara Sewell's in the house.
Woo! You make me feel so pretty.
Pretty? I mean,
spectacular.
She walked in here as if this was like New York Fashion Week. Got out the car. We're talking boots, leggings,
leather,
the hat. We're in Texas.
That's how much you mean to me, though. I know that I have to bring my fashion game, so I'm freaking out, like trying to look amazing.
But the funny part is when y'all do that is when I'm like borderline homeless. When I come up here at the studio, I'm so comfortable because I'm doing y'all's interviews like back to back. So I'm like, let me do sweats. And then Kara comes out and she's literally model pretty. And, you know, all the anchors, they know how to slay and beat their face to perfection. And I'm thinking maybe I should have dressed up for you today.
Well, here's the deal. It's either slay perfection or it's a hot mess. There's really no in between. My husband feels the same way. He's like, there's really not like a middle of the ground for you, is there? It's like, no, it's either all or nothing.
I like that. And right now I'm nothing.
You at least have lipstick on.
Yeah, I put lipstick on for y'all. So I did a little bit of a little highlighter and that was about it.
That's not nothing.
That's not, because I know you guys, y'all come in and your face is still done from TV. So I know I have to somewhat compete, but not really.
This is thick makeup and really big eyelashes. That's all it is.
And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
So what's been going on? What's the latest and the greatest in TV land during COVID-19?
I'm not even going to go and talk about the election, so we're just going to move past that.
But can I say, are you happy that it's, well, I don't think it's over, but
It's
are you
not
happy
over.
that the hard part is kind of
Yes,
done?
because I went in at midnight for that. And there's a lot of prep beforehand to make sure you're familiar with the local races too, right? Because people can watch the national news, but locally you want to know, I mean, these are the people that are really affecting you, right? You know, if you're talking anything about local representation, you know, city council and beyond. You know, I know that wasn't what we're really focusing on, but that really is a big deal too.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm happy it's pseudo over. And I will tell you though, I'm an elections junkie, so I really enjoyed it. Yeah, someone said, "Are you sort of gonna like have some self care and relax after all this?" I said, "No, I'm gonna lean into the craziness. I'm gonna stress out and I'll sleep on the weekend."
Well, I'm happy to hear that because our PR petty at the end of this episode was election related, and I had no idea where I need you to weigh in. So, but anywho, so I'm glad to have you here because sometimes when it comes to business owners and brands and other maybe new publicists and older ones too, it's always about the approach with anchors. And you have Up With Her, you're very active on social media, very active in the community. So I'm sure you get hit up all the time.
I do. And let me tell you, it's great now because I was doing the Up With Her segments once a month before the pandemic because we would do a whole, event, a meetup with them. You've been to them. And now I'm doing them once a week. We're not doing any sort of meetup associated with it, but we are doing them once a week. So I'm able to profile and highlight more women around North Texas. So it's really been a win for me.
So do people reach out via DM or they're emailing or they're just bugging you, tagging you in a bunch of shit?
Normally, they really don't do a lot of the tagging, but they do a lot of direct messages. I get a lot of emails. Sometimes people will go through my website or they'll email me through work. And I would say more Instagram direct messages and sometimes Twitter too.
I always find that fascinating because there was one point in time where I was like, it's so unprofessional to approach media via DMs. Like maybe this was years ago, right? And now it's like a thing. You're like the second or third person that's come in here and said, look, I've found really great news stories when somebody has just reached out and said, I watched you do X, Y, and Z. What do you think about this?
Oh, yeah. And I usually tell them that'll sort of decide whether or not I'm interested or I think it's something we can profile and Up With Her. And then I usually tell them to follow up with an email because I can get scatterbrained and it's helpful because I have an Up With Her folder and I can put them all in one spot. So I normally tell people to follow up with an email, but that's a good, okay, can I do this? Can I not do this? That's a good starting point.
Awesome. So what makes a really good story? Like what attracts Kara to a story?
So I'm all about brass tacks, real information. So one of the reasons I started Up With Her is because I love being inspired. I think that's great, but I also need some meat with, the sides and the potatoes and the dessert.
We're in Texas, so we're talking like mac and cheese, but not just regular mac and cheese, not like Kraft. We like it with the crumbles and the bacon.
Exactly.
Maybe a little jalapeno, whatever.
I need more than just I feel good. I wanted to be able to give women tools to apply to their own life so that they don't just feel good. They can go and apply it and they can help their situation, whatever it may be. And so when it comes to a story, I need someone who's actually going to be able to provide context that other people can apply to their own life. Because I think we can all share from that, right? But I need to have some solid points that you can go, here's what I did. I need people to be able to tap into that honesty, the authenticity, and be a little vulnerable. Right? Vulnerability is the big one when it comes to these stories. And if you can't do that, then it's just going to be another one of those sort of like fluff, yay, she made the most of it. Like we hear a lot of that and that's great, but I want to know how you made the most of it. How did you get there?
You used a really good keyword, like authenticity. When people are approaching you or maybe they get past that first barrier and you're like, okay, let's explore this story a little bit more. We were discussing earlier about how some things can seem over PR'd.
Yes.
exactly does that mean?
I think that people are so afraid now of making a faux pas that it's going to wind up on social media, that they're going to get canceled. And they're so afraid that they stay so inside the lines and the boundaries. They don't want to say anything that could potentially get them in trouble, get their employer in trouble, get this person in trouble. And so the answer is, it's boring, but they're afraid. And so I want them to know that, listen, I'm not going to do something that's going to like jeopardize your life, but I need you to let your guard down and be who you are. And, I would go to someone's defense if someone got mad at someone that I did a story based on what they said. I would totally defend them.
Right.
And I would make the push for that. That's never happened, but I think that's why there's this huge fear. And I think if you can let that go a little bit, I'm not going to use any of your PR rehearsed answers. You can give them to me. I'm going to delete them. I am.
It's very robotic, very rehearsed, which at the end of the day, I feel like just from the publicist standpoint, yes, you do need to be prepared going into the interview. But one of the very first things, one day I will show you this DVD. One day, because I trust you. It was my very first time going on TV. Oh. It was a fashion style segment in Houston for Fox.
Okay.
And I had no media training whatsoever. It was, okay, I'm going to fake it till I make it. A publicist actually here in Dallas put me on TV and said, Leah, we have nobody else to go do these fashion segments. Can you please go on? And I bombed it. I was very robotic. I didn't know where to look. There was a million cameras around me. Nobody told me what to do. And so...
Well, that's a problem too, by the way.
Yeah. And there was 3 segments in a row. She didn't tell me there was 3. I thought I was only doing 1. So when the first one concluded and we were waiting for the other 2, the producer or whoever the cameraman came from behind, the main camera guy comes from behind, pulls me aside and was like, 1, you gotta relax. And 2, it's just like having a conversation. So look her in her eye and just act like you're talking to one of your girlfriends. And the craziest thing is, for me, that helped me relax instead of going into rehearse. This is what the publicist told me I was supposed to say about this fashion sale that's going on in Houston. I'm just going to talk to Kara, so to speak, and talk about the sale from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Instead of looking around and figuring out what camera am I supposed to look at.
But I'm disappointed that the host wouldn't talk to you about that too, because that's the big thing is I want... I do feel, a little pat on my back or pat myself on the back, is that people will walk away and say, that was a lot easier than I thought. And I'm like, good, that's the point. Because if you can let your guard down, then it's going to be a better interview. But I tell you what, it's always the guys behind the scene. They have your back too.
He did. Yeah. And to this day, I'm so appreciative because that was my first experience. I think it was like 11 years ago. And I have carried that with me like up until today. And even with some of my clients where it's their first time going on TV, even when we're practicing doing videos, I tell them the exact same thing.
Well, because if you're on camera, keep in mind too, all of that nitty gritty detail, you likely have some sort of what we call a graphic or a full screen that's going to pop up with the details. So going over those with a fine-tooth comb, it's not necessary. We're going to have a graphic over it. You can sort of ad-lib your way through it. If people are interested, they're gonna do their due diligence. So you going through every detailed fact, people stop listening.
Which I've screwed that up before. I was like, I'm giving out the wrong website.
See,
it's on the screen though, so hopefully you go to the one that they put on the screen.
And you learned your lesson. You still have a copy of it. It's the same reason I still have my first resume. So how about this? Terrible. If you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
I will definitely, Kara. It's bad. Like, it's super cringy.
But you'll never do it again.
I will never do it. The other 2, he said, were actually really great. First one was a complete bomb.
You had to get out of the way. You had to get the screw up.
I'm never going to go on TV again. They're never going to bring me back. But I also was hiding my attorney life too. So the law firm didn't even know I was going on TV.
See, and that's part of the thing. Well, see, if you're hiding something, note to people, if you're hiding something, you're not going to do as well. That goes back to that being honest and open.
Listen,
okay?
But look where I am today.
True.
I had to hide it.
Everyone's allowed one screw up, I would think. At least one.
Yeah, that was my one. It was major. And I have it as one of those things where it's like, okay, This was me then. Look at me now.
We can work with you too.
Yes.
Okay, well, I will tell you, as an anchor in a top 10 market, right, which for people who don't know, it's I wouldn't say it's a big deal, but like it's an accomplishment for my career.
That's huge.
My very first live shot I ever did, which a live shot is when you're in the field doing a live report, I was told in college to describe the entire scene, give a thorough, detailed, so in my mind, I was just fresh out of college. So I went to the scene of a dead body and I described the smell of the body.
Oh my God.
And I got back and my boss goes, don't ever do that again. And I was like, oh, I was just describing the scene. He's like, I don't need that much detail.
What? Why? Was it because out of respect for the...
No, it was just no one needs to be told.
What did you say?
I just remember describing how nasty it was and how bad it smelled and how this person may have been there for a while. And you're just like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? This 23-year-old person. So we've all done it. Not maybe like to that degree.
Do you still have that one?
I don't have that one.
Oh, darn.
I know.
Wait,
I know.
It's not in the archives?
It's not in, well,
it's not online?
No. Thank goodness. That was in 2006 before everything was on TV or YouTube.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Well, now I feel better.
You should feel better. If I can go on air and describe a dead body and their smell, then everyone else should be fine. Okay.
Tips from Carousel. You can do it too.
You can do it too. But no, you know what I think a big one is, and I thought of this when I was talking to my husband about the most recent Up With Her story I did. And I really want to break down like this whole PR self, right? So I did this whole interview, and this woman and her daughter created a stock market workboook for kids during the pandemic, right? She's a stock market pro. Her daughter's a former Montessori teacher. Bam. They want to help create generational wealth in the Hispanic community and beyond, right?
Yeah.
And I asked her at the very end, I said, so were you like really good with money your whole life? And she was like, no. I used to go and get my paycheck on Friday, spend it all on shoes, go out for drinks. And that is the soundbite that I started the story with, because perfection is not relatable. And so to be able to mention, if I just went on and said, oh, she's a stock market guru, blah, 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 no one's relating to that. I mean, I'm not a stock market guru. So I sort of tune out. But everyone can relate to getting a paycheck and blowing it. I would like to think at some point.
We can relate to that, but we can also relate to like that girl next door, or that mom next door with a daughter that wants to leave more to their kids because of the way they grew up.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, it's this big, intimidating industry that none of us want to really learn the ins and outs of. But if she can do it, like you said, given her background, then we can too.
Right.
Like
so
that lead up.
Instantly, it's like you're relatable, you're on the same level, and then you're ready and you're open to listening.
I love that.
So you have to share those sorts of things. If she had not been honest and open and shared that, I just don't think the story would have gone over as well. And she's already had a bunch of people now sign up for her course.
That's awesome.
And I just think that's important. So
I tell people that all the time. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, and I hope that y'all are listening. And I'm just gonna give myself a couple pats on the back, because y'all
we got a lot of pats on the back going.
People fight me when I'm like, man, that's incredible. Please tell your story. Well, I don't really want to talk about that. I just want to talk about my event. And I'm like, but people will buy into you if they really knew your why. Like, why is this so important? Where did all of this come from? What makes you unique? Your story. And a lot of people just don't want to go there.
And I find that to be so disappointing, because that little bit of vulnerability will help you explode. I did another Up With Her with two women who started Power Woman Blazers.
Oh my God! They just emailed me yesterday.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay. They are good at selling themselves. Let me tell you, and I mean that in the most kind way.
Awesome.
And I did an interview. I did a StreamYard interview. That's what I've been using. And Kimberly actually quit her job after saving up a bunch of money. And by saving up a bunch of money, I mean living in a tiny apartment with her husband, not going out to eat, not getting Starbucks, not doing anything, so she could have her own seed money to start making these blazers.
That's awesome.
And sharing those elements and sharing the fact that they didn't know what the heck they were doing, they were learning through Google. That is another thing that I'm like, what were you searching on Google? Give me your keywords, and that just made it more real too. And she was able to go there because she didn't want people to think like, I just started a blazer. I just started making blazers, and here I am, and here are my blazers. Yeah. No, it was pretty messy on the way up, and I need to hear the mess, because it's all sort of messy.
Listen, you heard it here first. Kara's ultimately petty. So bring all your pettiness and your mess Bring your mess that made your message to Carousel.
That's right.
And you may just get booked on WFAA Channel 8. You heard it here first. I like pettiness too.
I mean, I think there's an element that all of us can relate to. Come on.
We're like, that's juicy. If I would have heard that soundbite, I would have been tuned for the stock market one. I would have been tuned in too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can all relate to listen, everyone's made a financial faux pas. I mean,
several,
right? Unless you're Warren Buffett?
Yeah.
I was about to say Jimmy Buffett.
Margaritaville.
He's made no faux pas. But I mean, I think that we've all done that. So how can you not relate to that? So you have to humble yourself and you have to find a way to be relatable.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like we're having wine with friends or coffee or whatever you drink.
True. And I don't think people see it that way. I think they get all worked up like, oh, it's TV, so I have to be very professional and I have to be very rehearsed and I have to be, but you guys are hearing it here. Relatable, being relatable, having a personality is key, and then sharing your story and being vulnerable.
And if you're going to share your story, I have to mention the whole YouTube situation.
Please do.
Now, one thing that has been interesting is since the pandemic, I've not been able to go on interviews, which is, the first time in 15 years I've been doing this. And so I have to get them to send me pictures and video and put them all together. That's been a challenge, more than I thought it was.
Please speak on this, Kara, because again, I'm going to pat my back. You know what? I'm going to count how many times I had to pat myself on the back
Is
this
your
episode.
arm hurting?
My arm, it's not hurting. I'm just building muscle here, patting myself on the back because you guys are validating everything I tell people. So go ahead and tell them what they need to be doing.
Well, first off, you really should have some sort of a YouTube channel so that you can upload different pictures and videos.
I need you to repeat that one more time.
You need to have a YouTube channel.
You hear that, folks?
YouTube. Okay, listen. And here's what's weird is that you will have people that they'll have an Instagram, they'll do Reels videos, they'll do Instagram stories. And
TikToking all day long.
And I'm like, I know you know how to do this, so just put it on YouTube. But then they get to YouTube and it's like all... hello, and it's like super formal, and I'm like, no, it's got to be the same. It's the same.
Well, you know what it is that not really back in the day. I hate saying back in the day, but YouTube, it used to, when you had all those digital marketing conferences and all that stuff with business folks, you'd have the YouTube experts that would come out and say, your YouTube videos have to be super professional. You have to have all the lighting. You have to spend thousands upon thousands upon, with a great camera. And now we've kind of moved into this era where people, back to what you were saying earlier, just want you to be genuine and want you to be authentic. We want to see the fact that maybe your drapes don't match, or your cat's climbing down the wall in the background. And if your message is good enough, they care what's coming out of your mouth. They don't care that you're prim and polished and all that stuff and rehearsed.
And that's the thing. I've had different PR people send me photos, and it's of check presentations and luncheons that were happening back in the day. And I'm like,
so Dallas.
I literally had to send and go, this is stale. I can't use it. I need something real. I'm doing this story on a woman who is obsessed with cars and has been since she was a kid. Does she have any pictures from when she was a kid, inside of a cool car? And lo and behold, she did. But, those are the things we need to see. We need to see the real, again, going back to authenticity. I don't need to see you at a check presentation. What is more boring than a check presentation, right?
And all these charity events.
Unless the check's going to you. Who cares?
Right?
So I really encourage people to take videos of what it is you are doing. And then you don't have to, come on. I've got this iPhone 11 Pro here. I bought it specifically because of my job, right?
Me too.
Okay. This camera is amazing. And you can add an app on there that will help. You can change. All you have to do is take some video of what you're doing around your office and put something together. It's not that hard. Your 15-year-old can help you out if you don't know how to do it. I mean it.
And some of you people who have, what do they call them? Instagram husbands,
yes.
Or I forgot what they call them.
Yes, Instagram husband.
They're perfect for that because you've already trained them what the perfect angle is. And so just tell them 15 seconds here or there. Mm-hmm. I've been telling clients now at intake because of COVID, you and I were talking earlier, where it's okay, NBC requires a Google Drive full of photos and all the videos. And like you said, they then piece all of the B-roll and all the videos together for the segment with your voiceover, however y'all do it. But now when they come through the door, I'm telling them, in anticipation that we may book something, I need you to get footage of you in action, or if you're a fashion designer, of the clothing or the product. And doesn't even have to have sound. Just like scan the room or
Right.
like,
You know, have you looking at some stuff, or maybe if you like, if you are in fashion, like actually sewing.
Yes.
And get your husband or your kid or your best friend to videotape you doing it.
Or something genuine and real, like you're sewing and up walks your 2-year-old kid,
Right.
you know,
You
or
probably
your
already
dog.
got it on Instagram. I think that's what's been interesting to me is seeing people who, for whatever reason, especially when you're going on more media outlets or those sorts of things, can't seem to. I get it, right? Like you can be more silly on TikTok or Reels, whatever, right? But for the most part, it should be sort of streamlined that you have an image, right? You have what you're presenting to an extent. Hopefully, it's real. It
Lord, that's a whole nother podcast episode.
It can't go from formal weird to like crazy TikTok
Right.
videos, right? I mean,
Right.
you just need to make sure you don't need to overthink it. Oh, how about that? That's what I'm trying to say. Don't overthink it.
Overthink it.
Yeah. me, classic overthinker, telling people not to overthink.
And that's me too. I overanalyze everything.
How many notes did I bring in today for this podcast?
Exactly. I was like, Kara, it's me. It's me. Like, you don't have to practice
I know.
questions.
I'm a preparer.
She
I like
comes from
preparation.
Anchorland.
Yeah. I try to not look like an idiot.
Well, on that note of not looking like an idiot, because you have no idea what I'm about to ask you next.
I'm so terrified because let me tell you, when I say the reason I am so prepared is because I've looked like it, going back to my story of describing the dead body smell. I have screwed up many a times in my career.
That is so
Luckily,
funny.
we didn't have everything online at that point. I really do feel for people. I know you've heard this before, but thank goodness.
Yeah, because they will screenshot and you can delete. It's there. Somebody has captured it. It's a wrap.
And side note, now too, I don't care if you're in TV or out of TV, if you're a guest, always think if a mic is around that it's on. That way you won't get caught maybe saying something ugly or cussing or any of those things.
I'm a cusser.
Unless it's, hello.
I'm a cusser. So on that note, or there was a time I was mic'd up and I forgot to switch it to off, and I went to use the bathroom.
Yep.
I think I was at Fox.
And then there you are.
They're like, your mic's still on. Oh, well, my bad.
I mean, we all go to the bathroom. I just don't want to hear it.
I'm new to this. I'm so sorry. But on that note, I do have a situation I want to assess. You're
Okay.
going to be publicist for today.
Okay.
And let's just chat about it we've got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So recently, our president, Donald Trump, or so his team, booked a 4 seasons, or he was supposed to book the 4 seasons to do his speech during the election, but it ended up being like
A landscaping company?
the 4-season landscaping company, and they were just like, F it, we're just gonna go through with this. The pictures were epic. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think I've laughed that hard in a long time during something that's detrimentally serious. Because when they pulled back the cameras and you actually saw the background,
Right.
They had the step and repeat, they had the podium, they had all the media. I'm just like, you know what? Here's to a team that just owned it. But if you were 4 Seasons landscaping company's publicist, how do you take this and then beef up your brand given the Trump team's snafu? Like, how do you take that and then use that to elevate business? Like, what would you do with this situation?
Well, one of the things that, like, I know that the Trump team has really tried to be is relatable to the everyman, right? So, like, people that, I mean, you know, people who are regular like us, regular people, right? You would think, okay? So I would go with that, okay? Because if you think about the 4 seasons, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to the 4 seasons all the time. Yeah. So, I mean, and again, not talking about the landscaping, talking about the hotel. So to me, that actually sort of like works out in the sense that you look like you're regular, right? Okay. And then I would try to see if there was some way that we could get some lawn care stuff going.
That is true.
You know, at the White House. And really then you go, if it's good enough for the White House lawn, it's good enough for your lawn too.
Oh my God, that's genius. They would need to truly change, like create a tagline. So whoever was on their marketing team or whatever would literally need to work overnight to create like a tagline, maybe have something on the website that kind of plays off of this mistake. That would be awesome.
And you know what's funny too is nowadays everyone's doing like a t-shirt or like a koozie. You could totally come up with some sort of a t-shirt that you could sell that you're getting people to wear, like, and it's like, it's funny, right? Because I think about the story, it was on the news this morning because, you know, I moved here from Cincinnati and they had a Christmas tree sort of debacle and the tree looked like it was half dead that they do downtown. And they were like, hang on a second, it's not a 2020 tree, we're gonna get it there. And it ended up looking actually really good, but initially it was terrible. And a t-shirt company in Cincinnati created a t-shirt with like this Charlie Brown looking Christmas tree. Oh my gosh. So I think you've got to get on that because then you have people doing the advertising for you. They're wearing your t-shirt.
True. And it's like almost, it's probably within this next week or so, almost like a historical landmark where people are probably driving by. Like, this is the location. They're putting it on social media. So why not get ahead of the curve, have shirts, koozies, tagline on the website, maybe even have something there that makes fun of it so that as people are putting it on social media.
I think you have to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
The thing that people are so afraid to do sometimes too, if you can't laugh at yourself and, you know, poke fun at that whole situation, then, you know, if now we're all laughing at it, right? Yeah. I'd rather be laughing with you than you laughing at me. And I think too on that, you would want to go to the White House and do some sort of a lawn care story, but do it on but don't make it serious. Like, and then you put this type of fertilizer down. You have fun with it. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be about specific lawn care tips at all. You're just there. And then what do you need to do? A YouTube channel and you post it.
There you go.
Then that gets watched and shared and bam.
Yes. So you heard it here. When it, or if ever Kara exits TV, she will be a rock star publicist because literally in 4 minutes she came up with a campaign
spin control
for the four seasons landscaping. So I'm actually gonna probably tag them in this because I think that's so fun.
Wouldn't that be though? I always think it'd be a real challenge to be. They have, you know, the PR people that do for like not emergencies, but when there's a real big
like
screw up, crisis management.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm sure I'm thinking of more, you know, nothing too serious like an explosion or something. I'm just thinking that would be an interesting, stressful as heck job.
I would probably do a PR campaign for the landscaping company for free because it would be so much fun.
It would be
to spin that and to create. I would come up with the most creative like team and be like, yo, you have 15 minutes of fame right now. Let's rock it. Let's get you as much as we can online so that when people Google you guys, it comes up on the first, second page. And we've got these amazing, when people land on the website, some way to grab their email address or some way to capitalize off all the attention that you're getting.
You've been thrown this golden moment. So to not embrace it, laugh at it, go with it, poke fun at yourself. I mean, if you don't do that, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. So you heard it here first. We have several idiotic moments here that Kara has pointed out, and several tips that she's giving you so that you're not an idiot on TV.
I want people to be able to sell themselves in the best way possible, you know, and I just want to make people comfortable enough to do that. Yeah. Everyone has a story. We've heard that before. The point is chipping away and actually getting to what it is.
Well, you heard it here first. Kara, how can we follow you? You're very active on social. Ladies, if you're into fashion, I would definitely follow Kara. She wears the most fantastic outfits on air.
Pressure.
So give us your website. Give us your social.
I try to keep it all seamless. So on Instagram, it's Kara Sewell TV. And no, I'm not related to the car dealer. I'd have a better car if that was the case. Just going to be honest. And then Kara Sewell TV on Facebook, Kara Sewell TV on Twitter. That's the handle. And then you can go to my website, which is watchkara.com.
I love it. Well,
yeah.
Thank you for visiting me.
Absolutely.
And giving your tips and tricks. Definitely going to have you back.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be hopefully doing visual along with our audio soon. I'm
going to start planning my outfit now.
Exactly. I think it would be if we could do a fun fashion PR segment.
I love that because what I've had to learn is how to be not just dressed, but dressing, you know, dressing for TV is totally different.
It is.
As far as like what you can wear, and just because it's in style doesn't mean that you should, which your own body.
Busy. Mm-hmm. Y'all have a lot of things to check off the list that I wasn't even aware of, like back in the styling days, where it was like, this looks great, off camera.
Not on camera.
Well, on camera. Lord.
Like, who keeps me the most honest, though, is my mother.
Go, Mom.
I mean, literally the other day she texted me and said something during the show, and she was like, did you wake up late? You don't look as put together as normal.
Oh, Mom.
Which I actually had woken up late, so she knows me too well. So my hair was a little bit like messy.
Oh,
but the point is she'll be honest, and so will my husband, about what I'm wearing, if it looks good, if it's not. You got to have someone who's brutally honest with you.
Well, we're going to, it's so funny you're bringing all this up. We have Willie Johnson, who's going to be coming in talking about image consulting and fashion, but I do think we need to do another brand-related fashion PR yourself segment, and we're going to have you come back to talk about that.
Yeah, as long as your feelings aren't hurt super easy. Some people now, you got to, what is that, suck it up, buttercup? I mean, people, you want someone to tell you, look, the real truth, right?
I don't think people know there's a certain way that you have to dress for TV either. And there's certain publicists that will book their clients, but don't, in the prep package, don't tell them like solid colors or don't have so much going on with the accessories or whatever is going on. So I think that would be great. We're going to do that. We're going to do that.
Noted.
So follow Kara. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any segment ideas or you want to kick a shout out to Kara, you can email me, leah@think3media.com. Keep following. It
was good to see you in person.
It was good to see you too. It's been a long time.
A long time. Yeah. I know.
I miss my Channel 8 family so much. I've seen Alex more than I've seen all of you guys.
Yeah.
Because we've been up here filming. But I haven't seen my anchor buddies.
Well, hopefully I'll see you before another 8 months goes by.
We will, because you have to come back and give us more of your pettiness. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time.